Howdy y'all. So today we're going to talk to y'all about the different kinds of bits, the most common types of bits. And so I have a few examples we're going to talk about. My helper today is Dandy, who's a very good boy. So the first bit we're going to talk about is the snaffle bit. And what makes a snaffle bit a snaffle is that your headstall and your rein all connects to one ring. So if your headstall and your rein are attached to one ring, that's what makes it a snaffle. It's a pretty common misconception that the mouthpiece makes it a snaffle, but that is totally not accurate. There's a lot of different mouthpieces that a snaffle bit can have. This particular one is a smooth mouth snaffle. And then the other thing about a snaffle is you only have like direct pressure on the horse's mouth. You're not going to get any indirect pressure on their poll or underneath their chin like you would with a curb bit, which is what we're going to look at next. Now, one more important thing to note about a snaffle is when you use a snaffle, it's very important to use a headstall with a throat latch. And the reason is, when you go pulling on your horse's mouth in a snaffle bit, if you don't have that throat latch, the bit can actually come up over their ears and fall on the ground. And we don't want that to happen. So make sure you have a throat latch if you're using a snaffle bit. All right, so the next kind of bit we're going to talk about is a curb bit. And what makes a curb bit is that your headstall is attached to one part of your bit and your reins are attached to a different part. So they are not attached to the same ring like our snaffles are. They're attached to two different locations. Now the curb bit has a few different parts to it. So from the mouthpiece to the bottom where the ring connects, right here, this is your shank, okay? From your mouthpiece to the top where your headstall connects, that is called the purchase. And then we have the bars of the bit, which are just these flat parts on either side. And then of course we have the port in the middle. Now, not all curb bits have a port, because remember, as I said, what makes a curb bit is that the headstall and the reins attached to two different places. Now, and I will show you all an example of a curb bit without a port here in just a second. Now, when you use a curb bit, you always want to use either a curb strap or a curb chain. We always like to use leather straps, but it's just kind of personal preference and what your particular horse needs. Now, with the curb bit, different than a snaffle, is you're going to hit indirect pressure points whenever you pick up on the reins. So you're going to hit pressure points on the poll of the horse, which is right here, and you're going to hit a pressure point down here on the chin. So I'll put this bit on Dandy really quick, so hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so when I go to pull on Dandy's reins, you're going to notice that this curb strap gets tighter on his chin. So when you pull, you get that pressure on his chin, okay? And then the other thing that you'll notice when you pull, your purchase right here goes forward, which actually causes you to put pressure on their poll right behind their ears as well. So when you're pulling, you get that chin pressure and the pull pressure in addition to hitting the roof of their mouth if you have a port with your curb bit. All right, so the next kind of curb bit we're going to talk about is a correction bit. Okay, so it has all the same parts. We have our shank, our purchase, our bars, and our port. But the difference between a correction bit and the bit that I just showed you that was totally solid is that this one swivels, okay? So when you use this bit in the horse's mouth, it can actually, like, if my hand is the mouth, it can actually bend and conform to their mouth just a little bit. So depending on your horse, this might be a better bit to use than the solid curb bit. But that's just kind of something that you have to play around with and figure out what your horse likes the best. Now, if you have a young horse, like a 2-year-old that's just been started, you never want to start riding in this, okay? always start with your snaffle, and then you don't even want to go straight from a snaffle to a bit like this. I'll show you which bit you want to go to here next. All right, so this again is another example of a curved bit, but this bit does not have a port to it. I am missing my curb strap or my curb chain on this particular head stall, but it has, the bit itself has all the same parts. We have our shank, we have our purchase, and we have our bars. The only thing it's missing is a port, okay? Now, a lot of people will mistakenly call this bit a snaffle because they just look at the mouthpiece. But like I said earlier, a snaffle is a snaffle because of where your head stall and your reins are connected to and the pressure points it puts on the horse, okay? It is not a snaffle because it has a broken mouthpiece like this. So this would be a good bit to go to like when you're first moving to a curb bit with your horse. If you've only been riding in a snaffle, this is a good transitional bit because the mouthpiece is the same as they're used to being ridden in, and then you can add those pressure points of underneath the chin when you have a curb chain, or and up on their pole, okay? So you're adding 2 new pressure points. You're not going full out by adding a port 2 and adding that added pressure on the roof of their mouth. So then once they kind of get used to this, then you could move on to a bit with a port. All right, so the very last thing that I'm going to talk to y'all about is how to properly hang up your bridle. So this is what it should look like in the end. And this is if you're hanging up something with split reins. So you'll drop your reins on the ground. Take one rein, flip it around, make sure it's lying nice and flat. Then you'll take your other one, make sure it lies nice and flat. And when you hang your bridles like this, your tack room is going to look a lot tidier.